Are there any things from the 90s that y'all are like, oh, I wish we had this?
Landline phones.
Getting a flip phone.
Oh, dude, flip phones are sick.
And how sick would it be to just...
See you later. Boom. Done.
I was just really lucky to be brought up in a household that loved 90s country music. It's really kind of where it all started for me. George Strait was the man in my house.
I'm carrying your love with me, West Virginia down to Tennessee.
The song I cut for this, I was 5 when it came out. Kind of stood the test of time.
I wanted to cover Wide Open Spaces because it's almost like a coming-of-age story. I grew up in a small town up in Canada, but I still wanted that big city life. My mom always had the radio on. It was always the Chicks and Shania. So I just grew up loving all of those 90s females. Wide Open Spaces gave me the strength to go and just follow my dreams.
Wide open spaces, room to make a big mistake.
My parents are both gospel singers. We literally only listen to gospel in the house. My introduction to 90s country was really high school and even college. For 90s country, there was just a playfulness about it, but also just the way they were telling some of those stories. I was attracted to it as a songwriter. A lot of my music brings hip hop and R&B and gospel influences into country and kind of fuses those things together as a cross-country cocktail. There's so many massive hits from the 90s, and I had a lot of different options to choose from. But with Strawberry Wine, it was just one of those songs that transcended time.
It's funny how those memories, they last like strawberry wine. 17, the hot July moon saw everything.
Isn't it crazy how they thought the 90s country was so pop?
Every generation of country feels pop to the people who liked the decade before.
Any of the songs I grew up on that were criticized for being too pop, I hear them now and I'm like, that's heat. I would love to write that song.
Heck yeah. Spotify singles in 2050, they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, the 20s were crazy.
I've always kind of gone back to 90s country to be like, how did they have those big up-tempo hits, but were still really well-written songs?
There were so many songs in the 90s that were about so many different topics. It doesn't all need to be love songs or breakup songs. I've tried to take a lot of that and bring it into today.
What I've been doing a lot recently is sampling 90s country, add some modern instrumentation and put a new perspective on it. It's just cool for me to see how history repeats itself and then also how things just directly flow.
We're trying to bring that 90s back. It's just so exciting.
Real country songs. I've been working on that for so long. It finally paid off.